Hey everybody, Charles Raether from AmLaw Group. Today, I wanted to follow up and provide another case study of a successful Canadian client of ours for E-2. And as you know, we have a series of these successful client stories where we talk about real life cases, real life clients, how they were able to successfully achieve their goals by getting a visa or green card to the United States. So in this scenario, it's a very interesting one in that it was a Canadian client, E-2 visa, and it was a gas station purchase. So we weren't involved with the location, the finding of the business and the negotiations on the business side. But this client was able to find a gas station to purchase for roughly, I'm thinking maybe $350,000. Now I think that was also including the real estate. Now understand, this is not in, Manhattan or, downtown Miami or anything. This was a rural area in a northern state. He was able to secure an agreement to buy a gas station for about $350,000. He negotiated seller financing so that it would pay this off, I think, over the course of 10 years or so. And the client made an initial deposit of, trying to remember, maybe about $150,000 or so. And the remainder was going to be paid off on a lease-to-own type arrangement with the seller. So great option. Why was it a great option? Well, first of all, he was acquiring an existing business that had cash flow, inventory, history behind itself. That always makes for a little bit of a better E-2 case. He was able to arrange seller financing, so he didn't have to put down the whole $300,000, $400,000 right away, put down a large enough down payment to allow him to qualify for the E-2. And then he was able to pay, or he will be able to pay that off over the next 10 years or whatever the term is of the note. And so this was a great option, I think, great example where it shows you don't necessarily need to have $500,000 or more to get an E-2, especially if you're buying an existing business. Now, again, a lot of our clients don't want to buy, a gas station maybe in the middle of nowhere up in the northern part of the U.S. Again, there's no obligation for you to reside next to or very close to the actual business. You could reside in the south in sunnier climes, manage the business from afar. Again, then it depends on the type of business, what people you have on the ground, etc. But again, hopefully this was a good brief example and insight into how you could do an E-2 visa, in our case with a Canadian client purchasing a gas station. I would readily acknowledge that probably the majority of our E-2 clients deal in some format, maybe with retail sales. It could be a nail salon, beauty salon, in this case, a gas station and whatnot. There's another example. We had a client, Ontario. They set up a nail salon. They rented the salon at a Walmart superstore. And if you're familiar with Walmarts, usually somewhere by the cash registers just outside that, there's generally some private businesses. They have space there along that wall, maybe for 2 or 3 businesses. They might have a Subway, and then, a couple small services, such as, maybe a glass store or something, eyeglasses, where they sell beauty salon, nail salon, stuff like that. So the client secured a lease at a Walmart for their nail salon. They had done this. I think that the spouse had had her own nail salon up in Canada previously. So they were familiar with the business. They knew the margins. They knew the business model. And, great traffic, that they would generate inside a Walmart store. And, that's how they set up their business that way. So hopefully, if you're Canadian, this was helpful to give you insight how our Canadian clients are investing in E-2s. And if you're not Canadian, that's fine too, because believe me, we're an equal opportunity company. And regardless of your country of origin, any of these business models would work for you in making your transition to the U.S. through an E-2 visa as successful and comfortable as possible. Until next time, again, I'm Charles Raether.